Doug Ford's bold move sparks political storm, Mark Carney's camp in crisis mode. Ontario Premier Doug Ford's recent actions have ignited a significant political storm, particularly concerning Alberta's sovereignty discussions. Ford, often perceived as governing more like a liberal than a conservative, faces scrutiny for publicly criticizing Alberta Premier Danielle Smith. This has raised questions about political unity, the balance of power within the Canadian Federation, and the implications of Ford's comments on the broader political climate. His actions, including sporting a "Canada is not for sale" hat, ironically made in China, while criticizing Smith for fulfilling her legal obligations under Alberta law, have drawn sharp criticism and fueled accusations of hypocrisy. Critics point to the symbolism as tone-deaf and undermining, especially when paired with Ford's comments condemning Alberta's autonomy efforts. Ford's remarks aimed at Smith have been perceived as more than mere political disagreement. They're seen as attempts to undermine her leadership and delegitimize the concerns of Albertans. He publicly stated that Alberta's discussions about potential separation are divisive, asserting that "we need to be united." This stance has drawn ire from many who believe Smith is simply fulfilling her legal obligations under Alberta law. Critics argue Ford's comments are an intentional effort to delegitimize Smith's authority and the concerns of Albertans, particularly regarding the perceived overreach of the federal government and the feeling that Western Canada's interests are often overlooked in national policy decisions. The debate highlights the ongoing tension between provincial autonomy and federal power, a recurring theme in Canadian political history. The political dynamics have become increasingly complex with Mark Carney as the new leader of the Liberal Party and Prime Minister. Carney's emergence has reshaped the political landscape, creating new alliances and rivalries. Ford's support for Carney has raised eyebrows, especially given his previous backing of Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre. This apparent shift in allegiance has led to speculation about Ford's political motivations and the extent to which he is prioritizing Ontario's interests over broader national concerns. Ford's actions appear strategic, aligning himself with Carney's vision, but they've also led to accusations of opportunism. Notably, his insistence that any support for pipelines must benefit Ontario's economy by using Ontario steel has added to perceptions of self-interest. This condition has been viewed by some as prioritizing Ontario's economic gains over national unity and cooperation, further exacerbating tensions between provinces. Ford's approach appears to cater to short-term regional benefits at the potential cost of national cohesion, reinforcing Western skepticism about central Canadian leadership. In response to Ford's criticisms, Smith has maintained that while she respects their working relationship, she expects reciprocal respect and understanding of Alberta's unique circumstances. She has emphasized that her actions aren't politically motivated but align with Alberta's legal framework and the will of its citizens. This pushback highlights growing frustration in Alberta regarding perceived neglect from federal leaders and other provinces. Smith's stance resonates with many Albertans who feel their concerns are often dismissed by political elites, leading to increased calls for greater provincial autonomy and control over their resources. The debate over resource development and environmental regulations has become a major flashpoint in Canadian politics, with Alberta advocating for greater control over its natural resources and pushing back against federal policies that are perceived as hindering economic growth. Alberta's calls for reform are rooted in long-standing grievances that federal institutions don't adequately represent Western interests. Adding to the tension, Bloc Québécois leader Yves-François Blanchet has weighed in, mocking Alberta's aspirations for sovereignty and suggesting the province lacks a distinct culture. Such comments have been met with backlash, as many Albertans pride themselves on their unique identity, characterized by resilience, hard work, and a pioneering spirit. Ford's sudden change of tone, emerging from a meeting talking about how Alberta and Saskatchewan have been ignored for a decade and how he fully supports them, just days after dismissing their concerns, raises questions about his motivations and the influence of external factors. Speculation suggests Mark Carney may have influenced him, leading to accusations of political maneuvering. As the political landscape shifts, the interactions between Ford, Smith, Carney, and other leaders will be crucial in shaping the future of Canadian politics. The coming months will be critical as these leaders work to either bridge the divides or risk deepening the fractures within the Canadian political landscape. The ability to foster trust, respect provincial voices, and prioritize the broader national interest will define the resilience of Canadian federalism.